So I just did a vlog over on TikTok, which is posted here as well on YouTube, on the two different types of visualizations. And I wanted to add, because of course, when I think about anything, I think about the Law of One Tarot. And I wanted to add, use the archetypes of the Law of One Tarot to talk about visualization and the two different types. So what I have found in my lifetime are that there are two different types of two different techniques that people talk about visualization. The first one that I used for many years is that you visualize in more of a vague manner. The second one is that you visualize with absolute knowing of what it is that you want. So I started, when I first started my visualization journey, I think you should always do what you're more comfortable with when it comes to metaphysics, spirituality. The one phrase I always use, and I use this in my visualizations as well, and I'll show you exactly how I use it and where with the archetypes that I use it at the end. But the phrase that I always go by for anything is in my highest good, easiest path. In the highest good for all, in my highest good and easiest path for all. So with that said, the second technique is where you visualize something to a T. There is no room for error. You put an order into the universe, and Doris Cannon says this. You put the order into the universe, and the universe has to listen. Absolutely has to. Therefore, one must be pretty exact. So the way I visualized for years on end was putting my order into the universe, but in a very vague way. And here's what I found. So when you visualize something, right? So when you begin to visualize, let's say you're coming from, I want to say more of 40. You're visualizing something from love and understanding through the heart chakra, and you're magnetizing it. When you start magnetizing, actually magnetizing comes from the bottom, the electron. When you begin to magnetize something from Gaia, from her core, that hot pink molten core within her, you access the magnetic waves of that core. Here, what you're doing in 4D, the heart chakra, is you are working with your higher mind, and you're visualizing through the yin and yang energies the life that you want. Here's the kicker. When you visualize in a very vague way, here's the positive, okay? The positive, if you're vague, and you visualize, Bashar says, for no more than 15 minutes. But then the key is to absolutely let it go. Yesterday, we talked about the body complex. So all the organs within your bodies, because each one of these densities represent an organ, and the organ represents the chakra and the frequency that you're in. So you have to make sure that your hormones and your chemical balance in your body is neutral. Visualize for no more than 15 minutes, then you let it go. You go into 5D and you let it go. We talked about this yesterday, the hangman. Then you let the universe, all light is consciousness, to begin to do its thing. Now, when I visualized in a manner that was vague, I very rarely put my senses into it. And what began to happen, and I'll give you an example, is this transformation began to kick in. What does that mean? I'll give you an example. My first conscious workings with visualization, where I was aware, was years ago, when I began to say a simple thing like, I want to use more of the right side of my brain. I know I'm scientific. I know I have a lot of knowledge on different things, especially science, but I really want to know if I'm creative. I never in my life thought I was creative. So I put it out there that I want to be creative. Whatever it is that is creativity, it is going to come through me from the right side of my brain, and I want to create something, and I want to be creative. That's what I began to say. Now, and I kind of said this for a couple of years. Now, one thing that I want to tell you is I've been doing these vlogs for a very long time. So this is all perception, right? So I've been doing these vlogs for a very long time. I've been blogging for a very long time. I have a channel, I have a website, WordPress website called Risky Business. It's about a decade old, I think. I cannot log into it anymore. I got to find the password, but I've written blogs for a long time. But you see, I never thought that was creative. I never. So out of me, from my heart, magnetizing more creativity. I want to be creative, not knowing that I was already being creative through the sharing of knowledge that I do here, my blogs that I was writing over there, and even my businesses. It's creativity, not thinking that that was creative. I wanted to use the right side of my brain because I didn't know what that would even look like. And I let this sun card, I surrendered it, no problem. I would say it and then I'd let it go because it wasn't, I was like, okay, whatever, let's see what happens. Say it, let it go. Consciousness, light, started obviously pouring into me because from Gaia, through the magnetization, I'm catching now through the pineal gland. The crystals are going off. I'm receiving light, the information within the light. And I kid you not, this transformation, so when you're visualizing, you're basically creating your own story. Each dimension here, I'm going to talk about this in another vlog. This is very cool. So each dimension here is, all of these are part of a script, specific parts of the script. I'll give you an example, but this is going to be like tomorrow's vlog. So the matrix over here, the first part of the script is the beginning and the end of your story in the blueprint here on Earth. The Great Way, lights, camera, action. So what is all this in between? We'll talk about it tomorrow. I'm so excited about that vlog. But let's get back to visualization. So I left it so vague, because I didn't know what it looked like. This transformation is always looking for what is in your highest, good, easiest path. 6D is your highest, good, easiest path. The sacred geometry, because everything is created through the flower of life within the platonics into 3D, and the platonics are projected back to you from the significator and transformation. Transformation is where, though, you can change the script into your highest, good, easiest path, depending on how much light, how much consciousness information you are receiving from the sun, the moon, the stars, the light. It can give it back to you depending on your frequency and your level of detachment from what it is that you want, because attachment repels. A freaking kid's book came out of me. A kid's book. I mean, in past lifetimes, I'm sure I worked with kids. I've seen visions of myself where I'm in China, and there's like this castle thing behind me, and I'm wearing this kimono, really like feels like it was 1800s or something. And then I'm sitting on this cot thing, and there are kids sitting in front of me. Like the kids were poor kids sitting in front of me, and I get up and I give them each books, paper, and pencils, and then I sit back down and I start teaching them the alphabet. I start teaching them how to read. So, and that vision is very strong. It's been in my mind's eye for over a decade. So I do believe in a past life I've worked with kids. I'm very good with kids, but in this life, I've never worked with kids outside of my own son, my nieces and nephews. And a kid's book on spirituality came out of me. You can check it out. Oh, let me show you. It's on my page. I'm such a bad marketer. Here's my kid's book. Okay, this is an ebook. This is, can I click on it? I created this website myself. I'm so sorry, but I want to see if I can click on this. Did it go anywhere? No. I gotta fix this site. But anyways, this is my kid's book. So the way I wrote it, it's not doing anything. Anyways, that's my kid's book. And the way I wrote it is I wrote it for parents to read to their children. So it's like, because it's metaphysics, it's very, and I haven't seen a kid's book like this actually, now that I'm talking about it. So I wrote it for parents to read to their children and to interpret what I'm writing in their own consciousness. And there's no right or wrong, because they're going to interpret the information based on their level of consciousness, their vibration, their frequency. Isn't that so cool? So anyway, and I love, look at me. I'm actually really proud of my kids' book. I love it. I just got to start pushing it out there now, which is a whole new thing. So that is manifestation. No, sorry, that is visualization. Visualization in a very broad way that came back manifested in the 3D. The other thing that, okay, let's leave it at that. Never mind. This is going to get too long. Now, the second way to manifest, Law of One Tarot. Let's use this again. The second way to manifest, Dolores Cannon talks about this all the time, is to get in there, use your 5 senses. You see that vision and you create that story, see the characters, and you need to use your 5 senses. So this type of manifestation is coming more from space, from the catalyst. I find you still need to utilize time because you are visualizing. And when I say visualize, the way I do it is I create in this dark spot. I begin to create like holograms, and I begin to see characters. Then you start feeling the energy of the people and you know who it is. Some people may visualize already knowing who the characters are going to be around them at that time. For me, it goes backwards a little bit. So we're all different. There's no wrong, right? So the way that Dolores Cannon talks about it is get in there, know exactly what you want, and the universe will serve you. Yes, that is so true. So the second way to do it, and I'm just starting to practice this way now, so I can only talk about this way a little bit. Now, if you go through the catalyst 3D, which is space, I feel like what you need, because I'm just starting to practice this type of visualization, I feel like what you need is you need a lot of the spirit complex. Right here, do you see this faith card? In regular tarot, I think people call it the star card, but I feel like you need a lot of faith in order to visualize and put your order in to a T of what you want. And the reason I say I feel like you need a lot of faith is because in this visualization, there's very little room for 6D transformation to come in and make the script better. Because remember what I always say, and I have a solution to that. I have a solution, but let's talk about this first. So Catalyst 3D, she says, be very specific to what you want. Very specific. So the way I find that helps me visualize this way is I begin to use my 5 senses within the visualization. And I'm just trying this, so I will keep you updated. Nothing's happened yet. But what I'm starting to do now is I manifested the book through a vague visualization, right? The book manifested through me. Now, my next visualization, which I've already started, but I was doing in a vague way, but now I'm going to start testing and tweaking this very specific way. And what I feel like you need to do in this manifestation style or visualization style, sorry, I keep saying manifestation, I mean visualization to manifestation. What I feel like you need is you need to use your 5 senses in the visualization. That's what I feel. So what I'm going to start doing is through 3D, consciously, and I have total faith in God, total faith. And this wheel here, if this is the wheel, the chakra wheel, I always say this is the chakra wheel, but now I'm realizing as I'm growing spiritually that this chakra wheel is nothing without your organs. So this is actually your hormones. This chakra wheel, we can call it chakras, but without your organs and the hormones that your organs are releasing, and within the organs are energy. And remember, energy is your mind complex, which is the soul, which is energy. And that energy then has a vibration, which is your spirit complex. The amount of energy you emit, if you're tired, your energy will not emit. It's not going to expand outwards like this. So this expansion, this energy creates a vibration within you. If your vibration's real low, then your aura is going to be low, small. Your vibration is going to be on the lower level, which then creates your frequency. So then your frequency might be low. But if you have faith and you visualize and your organs are open, because the hormones that your organs are releasing are of like oxytocin. That's the juice, man. You want so much oxytocin. Mothers release oxytocin after birth or when their babies cry and they have to breastfeed them. Oxytocin is a love hormone. So this chakra wheel is a wheel of organs, wheel of hormones, which create the frequency within your chakras, which then zoom connects to the ether, the sun, the stars, the light. And the light gives you back the frequency that you're in. So when you're visualizing to a T what you want, you put in an exact order to the universe. I'm going to use my 5 senses. I'll let you know how it goes. Because those 5 senses, so I'll give you an example. My book, the book that I've already manifested, I now want to sell it. I want to get it into people's hands. I want millions and millions of people to read it internationally. So what did I start doing? So I've just started this. So I started visualizing my books in bookstores, my books on the internet, my book selling from my website. Ding, ding, ding. I can hear every time a book sale goes off, my phone goes bing. I can hear the bings everywhere I go. That's hearing. Vision. In my visualization, I see my books. I see my books on bookshelves in indigo, chapters around the world. They're in bookstores. I can hear parents reading the kids to their children. I can hear the children giggling and asking questions. I can hear the kids actually explaining the book and what it's saying better than the parents can to their kids. I can hear that. Again, that's hearing. So the hearing part is really strong. I take the book out and I can feel the pages of my own book and me just walking by and being like, that's my book, and looking at it and looking at the sticker on the back. It's like actually askew. It's on sale. Wow. I can feel the pages. I can smell, the old library smells? I can smell the old library where I'm actually doing a book signing and I'm reading from my book to these kids. And these kids, I'm showing them what their aura and the expansion of their aura is. And they're doing it with me and they're giggling. And I touch their heads just out of love and care and just giving them a lot of, just blessing them. So this is the first time that I'm using my 5 senses in the visualization. But what I'm doing, because I know transformation, I know for the story that I'm creating, this is the part here where it can get better. So at the end of my visualizations, I also see myself when I'm visualizing in front of like cameras, doing television, media circles, runs for the book. A celebrity gets a hold of my book and interviews me. I see internationally going around and doing these media, whatever they're called, pitches. So, but what I'm saying here, in order for 6D to also do its thing, is after my visualization, I always say, whatever is in my highest good, easiest path. I always end the visualization with, in its highest good and easiest path for all. So those are the 2 types of visualizations and how I utilize them. Please comment on how you utilize them. And let's start a conversation here in the comments, because visualization is fun. We are the masters. We're the magicians here, right? We just forget that. We've forgotten all of that. I mean, we created this world. We created water at some point. We did it, you and I. We've just forgotten our power. So let's bring it back through the matrix, through sharing, because we're all magicians, and look at the body complex. Let's take this blindfold off of her and let's start balancing people around us through their organs so they're not minions to their feelings and their emotions. Love you guys. Bye.